What's up guys, I'm Paul from Grill Your Ass Off. Today we're going to be making poor man's burnt ends. I'm doing a chuck roast for, it's called poor man's burnt ends. Especially with the price of beef now, if you want burnt ends, this is a great alternative. Or, you know, you don't have to cook, you know, a whole brisket to get burnt ends. It doesn't take 15 hours to cook, you know. That's just something to consider with the chuck roast. This is a Wagyu beef chuck roast from courtesy of KC Cattle Company. If you, the marbling is amazing. What I'm going to do is when I open this, we're going to do 2 seasonings. Try it off. These really don't need too much trimming. You could take off a little fat if you want, but I'm just going to leave this the way it is. Seasonings I'm going to use a coarse rub first, and I'm going to be using the Deuce steak seasoning. This is a very thick cut of meat, so you could be very liberal with it. Then I'm going to come across with a more finer rub, which would be our gunpowder seasoning. This is great on anything beef, whether it's a steak, brisket, and especially this. This is will be very fine and cover a lot of the surface of the meat. You just pat in as you go. It has a lot of activated charcoal in it. That's like the base of the rub, and it, like I said, it pairs amazing with beef. I don't need steak any other way anymore after I've had this. And like I said, you could be pretty liberal with it because this is a thick cut. It's about like 3 inches thick. And then you just want to make sure you got every little spot. Then you can let this hang out for about like 15-20 minutes. Let it sweat while you warm up your smoker. I'm going to be smoking it on my Traeger at 250 degrees until it reaches 165 internal. Then I'll pull it off, and then we'll cube it up, put it in a pan, top it with barbecue sauce, put tin foil over it. This is the barbecue sauce we're going to be using. It's our traditional barbecue sauce from Grill Your Ass Off. I'm going to cut that up, put it in a tin pan, cover it, put it back in there until they're fork tender. Usually, if you want a temperature, I would say around 200 degrees internal. Also too, before I put this on, usually, because it's so thick, like you'll have plenty of seasoning left on the board. So like I'll just like pile it up so nothing goes to waste. And you just hit the sides a little more. And you just pat it in as you go. Just try to get every spot you didn't get, or you know, got plenty on here. Like I said, don't be worried. This is a thick cut of meat. It can handle the seasoning. Because the last thing you want is to be finished and have no flavor because you didn't put enough seasoning. But this is just like what I do while it's sweating out, while the grill heats up. But other than that, she's covered perfectly. I mean, that's the combo of the coarse rub is the Deuce, and then the black is obviously the gunpowder. It's a perfect beef blend. All right, so I'm running the Traeger at 250. I'm gonna put this on center, and then I'll stick my probe in center mass. Make sure you get it halfway through. So I'm gonna let that go until it hits 165 internal. All right, so we took the chuck roast off the Traeger, and as you can see, the bark set up just right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna cube it up and put it in a pan. Having a sharp knife for this is key, because if it's dull, you could even use a serrated knife. It'll cut through. Because if you have a dull knife, you're just gonna mash everything up. Garbage. Once everything's cubed up, what I like to do is I'll add a few pads of butter. Not a lot, just a few pads. And then I'll come back around and season it again with our Deuce steak seasoning. What I'll do is I'll take our barbecue sauce and just drizzle a little bit over the top. What I'll do is I'll cover this with tin foil and it goes back on the Traeger. I'll take these out of here and drain the liquid by transferring them into another tray. So I let them glaze for another 15-20 minutes, and they are pretty much fork tender. And there you go, good party favor. Boom.